The Bhagavadgita with Sri Shankaracharya's commentary. Introduction. Narayana is beyond the Avyakta. From the Avyakta the mundane egg is born. Within the mundane egg, verily, are these worlds, and the earth made up of the 7 Dvipas. This is a Puranic verse speaking of the Antaryaman, the inner guide and regulator of all souls. It is quoted here by the commentator in order that B. may begin his important work, after the orthodox fashion, with the contemplation of his favorite god, Ishtadevta, namely, Narayana, and further with a view to show that the Purana, archaic history, the Itihasa, ancient tradition, and the Gita teach one and the same doctrine. Narayana is, in the popular conception, the creator who was brooding over the waters just before the beginning of creation. Manu 1.10. According to a subtler conception, Narayana is the Antaryaman, the divine being in whom all embodied souls have their being. He is not a creature of the Avyakta, but far transcends it. It is the Avyakta, the Avyakrita, Maya, the undifferentiated matter, out of which, when in apparent union with Ishvara, is evolved the principle of Hiranyagarbha, here spoken of as Anda or the mundane egg, which is composed of the 5 simple rudimental elements of matter. An intermingling of the 5 rudimental elements of matter gives rise to the principle of the Viraj, of which are formed the earth and all the other lokas or inhabited regions, Anandagiri. The 7 dvipas or insular continents are Jambu, Plaksha, Kusha, Krothcha, Saka, Salmala and Pushkara. For further particulars regarding these, see Wilson's Vishnu Purana, Volume 1, p.109 ff. The twofold Vedic religion. The Lord created the universe, and wishing to secure order therein, he first created the Prajapatis, lords of creatures, such as Marichi, and caused them to adopt the Pravritti Dharma, the religion of works. He then created others such as Sanka and Sanandana, and caused them to adopt the Nivritti Dharma, the religion of renunciation, characterized by knowledge and indifference to worldly objects. It is the twofold Vedic religion of works and renunciation that maintains order in the universe. This religion, which directly leads to liberation and worldly prosperity, has long been practiced by all castes and religious orders, Varna Ashrama, from the Brahmanas downwards, who sought welfare. The purpose of the divine incarnation. When, owing to the ascendancy of lust in its votaries, religion was overpowered by irreligion, caused by the vanishing faculty of discrimination, and irreligion was advancing, it was then that the original creator, Adikartari, Vishnu, known as Narayana, wishing to maintain order in the universe, incarnated himself as Krishna, begotten in Devaki by Vasudeva, for the preservation of the earthly Brahman of spiritual life, Brahmanatva, on the earth. For it was by the preservation of spiritual life that the Vedic religion could be preserved, since thereon depend all distinctions of caste and religious order. The Lord, always possessed, as he is of infinite knowledge, supremacy, power, strength, might and vigor, controls the Maya, belonging to him as Vishnu, the Mool Prakriti, the first cause, composed of 3 gunas or energies, and he appears to the world as though he is born and embodied and helping the world at large, whereas really he is unborn and indestructible, is the Lord of creatures. and is by nature eternal, pure, intelligent and free. The special stress laid here on Maya as belonging to, and being under the control of the Ishvara is chiefly intended to impress the idea that Maya does not exist or act independently of Brahman, the Ishvara. He is quite independent of Maya, unlike the individual souls, who are subject to its influence. The followers of the historical school of the Sankhya Darshana hold, on the other hand, that matter and spirit, Prakriti and Purusha, are two distinct principles, the former being as real as the latter, and acting in unison with it. Without any interest of his own, but with the sole intention of helping his creatures, he taught to Arjuna, who was deeply plunged in the ocean of grief and delusion. The twofold Vedic religion, evidently thinking that the religion would widely spread when accepted and practiced by men of high character. They are 10 in number. Authorities differ as to their names and number. They were without desire or passion, inspired with holy wisdom, estranged from the universe and undesirous of progeny. The authorities differ as to their names and number. These, declining to create progeny, remained as the name of the first, Sanat Kumara, implies ever boys, Kumdras, that is, ever pure and innocent. The words Dirghena Kalina, meaning a long time, in the com, are also construed as an alternative interpretation. Why the next following sentence? Then it means a long time after, when the Krita and the Treta Yugas had been over, and the Dwapara Yuga was approaching its end. The words in the com corresponding to this are Amsena Samba Bhuva. As Amsh means a part, it would mean that Krishna was a partial incarnation of God Vishnu. But of the several forms of the incarnation of God, Krishna is on all hands recognized as a full incarnation of Vishnu. Accordingly, Anandagiri explains Amsena to mean, in an illusory form created by his own will. The Gita and the commentary. It is this religion, which was taught by the Lord, that the omniscient and adorable Vedavyasa, the arranger of the Vedas, embodied in the 700 verses called Gitas. This famous Gita Sastra is an epitome of the essentials of the whole Vedic teaching, and its meaning is very difficult to understand. Though, to afford a clear view of its teaching, it has been explained word by word and sentence by sentence, and its import critically examined by several commentators. Still I have found that to the laity, it appears to teach diverse and quite contradictory doctrines. I propose, therefore, to write a brief commentary with a view to determine its precise meaning point. Jnana Yoga is the means to the supreme bliss. The aim of this famous Gita Sastra is, briefly, the supreme bliss, a complete cessation of samsara or transmigratory life and of its cause. This accrues from that religion, dharma, which consists in a steady devotion to the knowledge of the self, preceded by the renunciation of all works. So with reference to this religion, the doctrine of the Gita, the Lord says in the Anugita as follows. That religion, indeed, is quite sufficient for the realization of the state of Brahman, the Absolute. In the same place it is also said, he is without merit and without sin, without weal and woe, he who is absorbed in the one seat, silent and thinking nothing. And he also says, knowledge is characterized by renunciation. Here also, at the end Arjuna is thus exhorted. Abandoning all the mass, come to me alone for shelter. How Karma Yoga is a means to the supreme bliss. Though the religion of works, which, as a means of attaining worldly prosperity, is enjoined on the several castes and religious orders, leads the devotee to the region of the devas and the like, still, when practiced in a spirit of complete devotion to the Lord, and without regard to the immediate results, it conduces to the purity of the mind, Sattvashuddhi. The man whose mind is pure is competent to tread the path of knowledge, and to him comes knowledge, and thus, indirectly, the religion of works forms also a means to the supreme bliss. Accordingly, with this very idea in mind, the Lord says, the specific subject and object of the Gita Sastra. The Gita Sastra expounds this twofold religion, whose aim is the supreme bliss. It expounds specially the nature of the Supreme Being, and reality known as Vasudeva, the Parabrahman, who forms the subject of the discourse. Thus the Gita Sastra treats of a specific subject, with a specific object, and bears a specific relation to the subject and object. A knowledge of its teaching leads to the realization of all human aspirations. Hence my attempt to explain it. It is considered incumbent on a commentator to state, before commenting on a work, the subject and the object, as well as the class of persons for whom it is intended, and the relation in which it stands to the three severally. Here the subject is the Parabrahman, the object is salvation, moksha. It is intended for those who seek deliverance from the turmoil of samsara. It is related to the subject as an exposition thereof, and to the object as a means of attaining it.
Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Atha Shrimad Bhagavadgita. Atha Prathamodhyayah. Arjuna Vishada Yogaha. धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामकाः पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय.
Translation. What did Pandu's sons, and mine, do when they assembled together, on the sacred plain of Kurukshetra, eager for battle, O Samjaya?
Sanjaya uvacha drishva tu pandavanekam vyudham duryodhanastara acharyamupasangamya raja vachanam abravit.
Translation. Having seen the army of the Pandavas drawn up in battle array, Prince Duryodhan then approached his teacher and spoke these words.
Pashyaitam Panduputrāṇām ācāryamagatīm ca mum vyūಢām Drupada-putreṇa tava shishyeṇa dhīmata.
Translation. O teacher, look at this grand army of the sons of Pandu, marshalled by thy talented pupil, the son of Drupada.
Atra shūrā maheshvāsa bhīmārjuna samayudhi yuyudhāno virātascha drupadascha mahārathah.
Translation. Here are heroes, mighty archers, equal in battle to Bhima and Arjuna, Yuyudhana, Virata, and Drupada, the master of a great car, Mahartha.
Drishtaketuschekitanaha Kashirajascha Viryavan Purujit Kunti Bhojascha Shaibyascha Narapungavaha.
Translation. Drishtaketu, Chekitana, and the valiant king of Kashi, Purujit and Kunti Bhoja and that eminent man Sebya.
युधामन्युश्च विक्रान्त उत्तमौजाश्च वीर्यवान् सौभद्रो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्व एव महारथाः.
Translation. The heroic Yudhamanyu and the brave Uttamojas, the son of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi, all masters of great cars, Maharathas.
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान्निबोधद्विजोत्तम नायका मम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमिते.
Translation. But know, O best of the twice-born, who are the most distinguished among us, the leaders of my army, these I name to you by way of example.
भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च.
Translation. Yourself and Bhishma, and Karna, and also Kripa, the victor in war, Aswathama and Vikarn, and also Jayadratha, the son of Somdatta.
अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः.
Translation. And many other heroes who have given up their lives for my sake, fighting with various weapons, all well skilled in battle.
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्.
Translation. This army of ours protected by Bhishma is inadequate, whereas that army of theirs which is under the protection of Bhima is adequate.
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि.
Translation. And therefore do ye all, occupying your respective positions, in the several divisions of the army, support Bhishma only. This shloka is differently interpreted by different commentators. Anandagiri's gloss suggests various interpretations, which all go to make Duryodhan mean that his army, larger and led by an abler leader than the enemy's, is more likely to win the battle.
तस्य सञ्जनयन् हर्षं कुरु वृद्धः पितामहः सिंहनादं विनद्योच्चैः शङ्खं दध्मौ प्रतापवान्.
Translation. His mighty grandsire, Bhishma, the oldest of the Kauravas, in order to cheer him, sounded on high a lion's roar and blew his conch.
ततः शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च पणवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त सशब्दस्तु मुलोऽभवत्.
Translation. Then, all at once, conches and kettledrums, cymbals, drums and horns were played upon, and the sound was a tumultuous uproar.
ततः श्वेतैर्हयैर्युक्ते महति स्यन्दने स्थितौ माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव दिव्यौ शङ्खौ प्रदध्मतुः.
Translation. Then, too, Madhva and the son of Pandu, seated in a grand chariot yoked to white horses, blew their celestial conches.
पाञ्चजन्यं हृषीकेशो देवदत्तं धनञ्जयः पौण्ड्रं दध्मौ महाशङ्खं भीमकर्मावृकोदरः.
Translation. Hrishikesha blew the Panchjanya, and Arjuna blew the Devdatta. Bhima, the doer of terrible deeds, blew his great conch Pondra.
अनन्तविजयं राजा कुन्तीपुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सह देवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः धृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक्.
Translation. Prince Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew the Anant Vijaya, while Nakula and Sahadeva blew the Sughosha and the Mani Pushpaka. The king of Kashi, an excellent archer, Sikhandin, the master of a great car, Drishtadyumna and Virata, and the unconquered Satyaki. Drupda and the sons of Draupadi, O Lord of earth, and the son of Subhadra, of mighty arms, all together blew their respective conches.
सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणाम् हृदयानि व्यदारयत् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलोऽभ्यनुनादयन्.
Translation. That tumultuous sound rent the hearts of the people of Dhritarashtra's party, making both heaven and earth resound.
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः हृषीकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाह महीपते. अर्जुन उवाच सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये रथं स्थापयमेच्युत यावदेतान् निरीक्षेऽहं योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे.
Translation. Then seeing the people of Dhritarashtra's party regularly marshalled, while the discharge of weapons began, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, whose ensign was a monkey, O king of earth, took up his bow and said thus to Krishna. O Achyuta, immortal, place my chariot between the two armies, that I may just see those who stand here desirous to fight, and know with whom I must fight in this strife of battle.
योत्स्यमानानवेक्षेऽहं य एतेऽत्र समागताः धार्तराष्ट्रस्य दुर्बुद्धेर्युद्धे प्रियचिकीर्षवः.
Translation. I will observe those who are assembled here and are about to engage in battle desirous to do service in war to the evil-minded son of Dhritarashtra.
सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्तो हृषीकेशो गुडाकेशेन भारत सेनयोरुभयोर्मध्ये स्थापयित्वा रथोत्तमम् भीष्मद्रोणप्रमुखतः सर्वेषां च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्यैतान् समवेतान् कुरूनिति.
Translation. O descendant of Bharatha, Hrishikesa, Krishna, thus addressed by Gudakesa, Arjuna, stationed that excellent car between the two armies, in front of Bhishma and Drona, and all the rulers of earth, and said, O son of Pritha, look at these assembled Kauravas.
तत्रा पश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थः पितृरथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातृपुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा श्वशुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि.
Translation. Then the son of Pritha saw arrayed therein both the army's fathers and grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons and comrades, fathers-in-law and friends.
तान् समीक्ष्य स कौन्तेयः सर्वान् बन्धूनवस्थितान् कृपया परयाविष्टो विषीदन्निदमब्रवीत्.
Translation. When the son of Kunti saw all the kinsmen standing, he was overcome with deepest pity and said this in sorrow.
अर्जुन उवाच दृष्ट्वेमं स्वजनं कृष्ण युयुत्सुं समुपस्थितम् सीदन्ति मम गात्राणि मुखं च परिशुष्यति.
Translation. Arjuna said, "My dear Krishna, seeing my friends and relatives present before me in such a fighting spirit, I feel the limbs of my body quivering and my mouth drying up."
वेपथुश्च शरीरे मे रोमहर्षश्च जायते गाण्डीवं स्रंसते हस्तात् त्वक्चैव परिदह्यते.
Translation. My whole body is trembling, and my hair is standing on end. My bow Gandiva is slipping from my hand, and my skin is burning.
न च शक्नोम्यवस्थातुं भ्रमतीव च मे मनः निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव.
Translation. I am now unable to stand here any longer. I am forgetting myself, and my mind is reeling. I foresee only evil, O killer of the Kesi demon.
न च श्रेयोऽनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च.
Translation. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle, nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom, or happiness.
किं नो राज्येन गोविन्द किं भोगैर्जीवितेन वा येषामर्थे काङ्क्षितं नो राज्यं भोगाः सुखानि च त इमेव स्थिता युद्धे प्राणान् त्यक्त्वा धनानि च आचार्याः पितरः पुत्रास्तथैव च पितामहाः मातुलाः श्वशुराः पौत्राः शालाः सम्बन्धिनस्तथा एतान् न हन्तुमिच्छामि घ्नतोऽपि मधुसूदन अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतोः किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीतिः स्यात् जनार्दन.
Translation. O Govinda, of what avail to us are kingdoms, happiness or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed in this battlefield? O Madhusudana, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law and all relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties, and are standing before me, then why should I wish to kill them, though I may survive? O maintainer of all creatures, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth.
पापमेवाश्रयेदस्मान् हत्वैतानाततायिनः तस्मान्नार्हा वयं हन्तुं धार्तराष्ट्रान् स्वबान्धवान् स्वजनं हि कथं हत्वा सुखिनः स्याम माधव.
Translation. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhartarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune, and how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
यद्यप्येतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान् निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षयकृतं दोषं प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन.
Translation. O Janardana, although these men, overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, with knowledge of the sin, engage in these acts?
कुलक्षये प्रणश्यन्ति कुलधर्माः सनातनाः धर्मे नष्टे कुलं कृत्स्नम् अधर्मोऽभिभवत्युत.
Translation. With the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligious practice.
अधर्माभिभवात् कृष्ण प्रदुष्यन्ति कुलस्त्रियः स्त्रीषु दुष्टासु वार्ष्णेय जायते वर्णसङ्करः.
Translation. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt, and from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Varsni, comes unwanted progeny.
सङ्करो नरकायैव कुलघ्नानां कुलस्य च पतन्ति पितरो ह्येषां मृत्तपिण्डोदकक्रियाः.
Translation. When there is increase of unwanted population, a hellish situation is created, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. In such corrupt families, there is no offering of oblations of food and water to the ancestors.
दोषैरेतैः कुलघ्नानां वर्णसङ्करकारकैः उत्साद्यन्ते जातिधर्माः कुलधर्माश्च शाश्वताः.
Translation. Due to the evil deeds of the destroyers of family tradition, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
उत्सन्नकुलधर्माणां मनुष्याणां जनार्दन नरके नियतं वासो भवतीत्यनुशुश्रुमा.
Translation. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those who destroy family traditions dwell always in hell.
अहो बत महत्पापं कर्तुं व्यवसिता वयम् यद्राज्यसुखलोभेन हन्तुं स्वजनमुद्यताः.
Translation. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness.
यदि मामप्रतीकारम् अशस्त्रं शस्त्रपाणयः धार्तराष्ट्रारणे हन्युस्तन्मे क्षेमतरं भवेत्.
Translation. I would consider it better for the sons of Dhartarashtra to kill me unarmed and unresisting, rather than fight with them.
सञ्जय उवाच एवमुक्त्वार्जुनः सङ्ख्ये रथोपस्थ उपाविशत् विसृज्य सशरं चापं शोकसंविघ्नमानसः.
Translation. Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
ॐ तत्सदिति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे अर्जुनविषादयोगो नाम प्रथमोऽध्यायः.
Thank you for watching. Please support us. Please like, share, subscribe.